Welcome back to the Girl Power Alliance podcast, the very first episode of 2021.
Yes, it's been since May of 2020. That was my final solo podcast that I did for the Sold Out Entrepreneur. So it's been a while, but I have enjoyed every minute of all 51 podcasts that we recorded in 2020 for the Girl Power Alliance podcast. I wanted to start off 2021 kind of back doing what I've done before. And I think actually this year in 2021, I will be doing some more solo podcasts because I have a lot of new things that well, they're not new, but they are things that I'm excited about being more bold in this year in 2021. And so we'll see how that goes. How was your year? How was your end of the year? I wish that you could talk back to me right now because I'd love to hear maybe a word or two of how 2020 went for you. It was nutty for us. Um, a roller coaster is what I would say. There were highs, wonderful highs, and some pretty low lows, which I think is the general consensus for so many people um, as they exited the year of the pandemic and the craziest political stuff ever. If you're anything like me, then you kind of had this arc. Like, so when we first started hearing about the stuff last year, actually we started hearing about it on the news, the pandemic, in January. It was already kind of a very heightened political season, being that it was an election year. We knew that it was going to get crazy because 4 years prior it was nuts. So we kind of knew that, and then the pandemic hit, and I think, I don't know, maybe I was going through the stages of grief. In the beginning, I was like, hey, this is easy. Maybe I was in denial, like the first stage of grief. We're going to be fine, stay positive. I just didn't even kind of allow thoughts to enter my mind that were going to be negative, and just was really staying in that phase. And I don't even know what all the stages of grief are, but I definitely went from denial into anger. Um, I don't know what the other ones are, frustration or something, and then maybe acceptance. And maybe that's kind of where I ended the year, realizing that there is nothing I can do to change the environment. All I can do is change the way that I think about it. And so I was listening to a podcast myself from Chris Valton, and he was saying, whatever your circumstance is, stop trying to fight against it. Like, allow yourself to be in it and keep your mind on things above, stay kingdom minded, and really just do what you can do to further the kingdom and be in obedience to God. And so that was a really good word for me. I feel like I was kind of getting there, but then hearing that really allowed me to go there. And so I kind of ended the year there, realizing I have no idea what 2021 is going to bring. And, even if I did, I have no control over any of it. So last year was a banner year. We started the Girl Power Alliance, and that was a pretty big feat. I had never done any of the things that I had done. I've never built a course since I've built a number of them, at least three. I had never built a membership site, and that's what we did. And building a community I had done only a few guest podcasts. I had done almost all solo podcasts for 3 years. So every single podcast in 2020 for Girl Power Alliance was a guest pod. So a lot of new things that happened in 2020, just stepping out of my comfort zone and really trying to be obedient to what I felt like God was calling me to. So what's next then? What's next for you? What's next for us? Well, I will tell you that probably starting in maybe the end of October, I started feeling the Lord speak the word transformational. And I felt him saying that that's what 2021 is going to be. It's going to be a transformational year. And I will tell you that the things that he spoke to me at the end of 2019 for 2020 absolutely came to pass. He told me, number one, there was going to be a massive shift in the church. And I know you felt it. That happened in 2020. And he told me that there was going to be a huge revival and that women were going to be the catalyst for this revival. And I believe that we are starting to see it. I am watching women rise up in a variety of areas and really stepping into this. I don't want to say new place because I believe it is where they have been positioned all along, but maybe just recognizing and realizing it, and just standing in that and accepting and receiving it. And so I believe what God says when he tells me that 2021 is going to be transformational. And I say that in a really positive way. Not negative, like scary, oh no, things are transforming, like really positive. And we'll see how that transpires. Now I have audio and video proof of what I believe that God is speaking over 2021. By the way, this is something I've never done before. The way that I'm doing this, I'm actually recording my audio through my computer, which is on there, and I'm recording a video this way. So this is another new thing that I've never done. And for all those years with the Sold Out Entrepreneur podcast, I didn't do any video because I just felt like it was harder or an extra step. And half the time I was in my pajamas with a bun on my head. So doing it this way, I'm required to, um, look decent, to look like a person. Well, how are we going to kick off this year? I would first of all like to just do a little plug for Radiant Leadership Academy. And this podcast is coming out on the actual first day of 2021. So there's still time for you to be part of the Radiant Leadership Academy. Let me plug it. Let me tell you about it. Well, for the last number of, I don't know, it's at least 5 years ago, the Lord really impressed on me that leadership is something that he wanted me to teach and train. And I have biblical leadership, by the way. My whole career has been built in the network marketing profession on building and developing leaders. I did it side by side with Bobby, and really biblical principles were the foundation for almost every single thing that we ever taught, but we never taught it as that. We were utilizing the strategies and the principles, but we weren't teaching it as, this is a biblical principle. And so back when I started the Sold Out Entrepreneur podcast, I started to feel this thing inside of me where God was saying, like, you need to really be bold about all these things that you do that stems from or sprouts from your faith and your growth, in your walk with the Lord, and be bold in sharing it. And so for a number of years, I knew that I wanted to do something like this, a real actual biblical leadership course, but I wasn't sure when, how, or what, or whatever. And matter of fact, before I launched the Girl Power Alliance, I knew at the beginning of the year that I was going to be writing my third book, and it's called Radiant Leadership. And it's literally about all of the things that this 16-week course is going to be teaching. And so as Girl Power Alliance launched and the vision kind of got bigger, I realized that this is the perfect platform to take these strategies and actually create a certification course. So Malcolm Gladwell says that it takes 10,000 hours of practice, basically, a participation in whatever skill set to become an expert. And I have logged approximately 20,000 hours in the development and or training and or learning about leadership development. So I'm really excited about this 16-week course that is going to cover a lot of really every area of your life. So if you are an entrepreneur and you want to step into the leadership that is your birthright, then I want to invite you to head over to radiantleadershipacademy.com, or you can go to girlpoweralliance.com and check out the course. It just gives you some information about it. And if you're a member of Girl Power Alliance, then you have very, very special pricing. We're starting in January, so there's very little time, but there still is time. And I have a lot of things planned. However, this first group will be kind of a beta group. So I'm going to be really leaning heavily on feedback from those that participate to help me if I need to modify or whatever, change things or what did work and what didn't work. But there's going to be so much value added. And I believe that this course is going to rise up a new crop of leaders, women leaders, that are going to be part of this word transformational for 2021. So we're going to talk about, leading yourself and, what does that look like? What needs to shift and change, conflict resolution with other people, We're going to be learning about money. We're going to spend an entire month on money mindset, how to create it, how to keep it, how to steward it well. We're going to talk about your influence. We're really going to talk about stewarding yourself, your life, just a lot of things. And if you're interested, then I can send you the outline. So reach out, Girl Power Alliance. Very easy to contact. You can find me on Instagram, Facebook, or just Girl Power Alliance, and we'll give you some of the details, some of the deets about the course. So that starts soon, and I would love for you to be a part of it. And this first round, this very first class, has special pricing. It's going to go up significantly after that because it's very, very intense. I think that's scary when I say that. There has been a lot of work that has gone into it, and it will be intense growth, but it won't be like you'll still be able to have a life, and it's not going to be overwhelming for you. So I don't want to scare you. It's been intense for me to put it all together, but it won't be intense for you, except for the fact that it's going to be an intense transformation for you, which it doesn't matter where you're at. If you are a mom at home and you have a family to lead, if you are in the workforce and at your job, there are people that you are leading right now. If you own a business, if you are in ministry, when when you change, when you grow, when you become a better leader, every single other person in your life gets better as well. And Craig Groeschel, who is the host of the Leadership Podcast, and he's the lead pastor at Life Church, he always says, when the leader gets better, everyone gets better. And I believe that to totally, totally be true. And boy, do we not need biblical leaders now in the world more than ever. There's so much going on that it's hard to find your footing. And we live in a world where social media like rules. People don't even advertise traditionally anymore. It's all done on social media. And so social media is crowded and loud and chaotic. And we're all being influenced by it, whether we realize it or not. So standing up as a leader and being bold in your faith, in your walk with the Lord, in your calling it's never been more important. It's never been harder because of all the craziness, but it has never, ever, ever been more important. So I'm calling to you, ladies, to answer the call that is on your heart, to really listen to that voice, to listen to that voice that is the Lord is speaking to you, and take your place. Stand up. Stand in the authority. It's time to stop being led, and it's time to start leading. I mean, the world is really, it's waiting on you. It's waiting on you. And there's a sense of urgency that I feel in my spirit about this course, and about, training up as many leaders as possible, as fast as possible. So I'm very, very excited about it. And that starts soon. So what else? I have, so for those of you that don't know, I am a mother of 3 children. My oldest daughter is 30 years old. She just had a baby. Her name is Tegan. She is perfect, beautiful little angel. And I was privileged enough not to be in the hospital because of COVID rules, but to be there. She lives in Florida. I live in California, but to be there at her home and spend the first 3 weeks of her perfect little life with her. And then and so that's my oldest. My second child is my son. His name is Jacob. He's 28 years old. He's gay, and I'm going to tell you why I'm saying that to you. And my baby is 18 years old. She's still at home with us. In my other podcast, Sold Out Entrepreneur, I shared a couple of podcasts where I specifically talked about my feelings, having, being such a crazy lover of Jesus, follower of Christ, and how my feelings about having a gay son. And so I've stepped into it lightly, but I never really went head on bold into it. I don't know why. Maybe I don't know, maybe I was afraid of backlash, or who knows. But I know that this year God is calling me to be really, really bold in my thoughts about that. And part of that is because of something that I was involved with my son and his fiance right when I got back from Florida, to home here in California, and something that I was a part of for a week. I don't think I'm actually allowed to say what I'm a part of yet. although maybe I am, so I'm just gonna say it. The boys, actually Brad, my son's fiance, got cast for a television show on HBO called We're Here. I really didn't know anything about it. Before I left for Florida, the boys said, we might be getting cast. They want to interview you because part of the show is that they interview the family members and they tell a story. The show is really focused on the stories of different LGBT people. It's hosted by three drag queens, and the show ends with a drag show. I had never seen it, didn't know anything about it, really didn't know anything about drag or anything else. But of course, I support the boys, so I said absolutely. They interviewed me a couple times, and I think I can't remember if it was when I was in Florida or right before I left that they said that the boys did get cast. I said, oh, it's exciting for them, something a bright spot for them in a year that's been really terrible for them. And so when I came home, literally like the day I came home, the filming had begun for this show. And so what I had been told that I was going to basically just do an interview. They were going to come to the house and do an interview and it would be pretty minimal. It ended up being literally 7 days of filming, a ton more than I um, had anticipated or had planned on, and just an experience that I was not expecting. And so over the course of the next couple of months before the airing of the show, I am going to be sharing bit by bit little things that God has opened my eyes to, and I'm going to be even more bold this year about the importance as a Christian of being, I think the proper and popular vernacular right now is gay affirming. I absolutely am gay affirming. And I do not stand in opposition of the gay rights or gay marriage. And, I have LGBT members in my family, not just my son. And I feel that it is more important than ever as a believer to stand up and be bold and share how and why and how I came to those conclusions and how I reconcile it. And I realized that as a result of being part of that show. So that's kind of all I'm going to tell you because it's deep. And I can't reveal like stuff because I think contractually I'm not really supposed to. You're gonna want to watch the show though. I will tell you that. I want to see it. I'm excited about seeing it. I don't know when it airs. I've heard maybe June. I'll keep you guys in the loop on that for sure. But that's going to be something that I will probably do solo podcasts on, but maybe I'll have guests, and you're going to hear me speaking boldly on that this year as well. And I'm certain that I will get some backlash. There always is, and there's always people that disagree. And I'm not here to debate. I'm not here to try to convince anybody of anything. I'm only here to share what the Lord has taught me and shared with me, in the hopes that the Holy Spirit can work on other people's hearts and minds and lives and create healing. Legit, that's like my only motive when I share this stuff. I'm not trying really to be an activist. I don't see myself as an activist, but I absolutely do see myself as somebody who has the strength to stand up and talk about things that I think other people are scared to talk about. So we'll be talking about that in 2021, and we'll see how that goes. Hopefully, I don't get too much hate. In addition to that, I know we're going to be talking a ton about leadership. We have some amazing guests that are going to come on the podcast this year. I'm really excited to see as we move out of, hopefully, like, please pray. I'm crossing my fingers. I'm praying. I'm doing everything I know how to do that we can come out of this locked down pandemic lifestyle that we've been in for way too long, in my opinion. We live in California, so as of this recording, we're still completely locked down and like there's no end in sight. So there's so many things that I want to go out in the world and do for Girl Power Alliance that I cannot do because events are not happening right now. So praying that that comes to an end quickly so we can launch our ambassador program, have our very first conference for Girl Power Alliance, and all those wonderful things. I will say this, that I feel like a different person walking into 2021 than I was walking into 2020. I feel like God has allowed some things to shed off of me that were unnecessary. I feel pretty clear on a number of things that I absolutely want to do in 2021, but I also feel kind of this big, like there's this big picture window in front of me, and like there's more that's coming. I just don't see it yet. So, if you've ever been driving, like in the mountains or something, and it's typically usually a two-lane road, and you can only see as far as the road ahead of you will allow before a turn. A lot of times, if you're in the mountains or somewhere that's really wooded, you can't even really peripherally, you're only seeing the trees. You can't really see through the trees or beyond the trees, but you can see the road in front of you as far as visibility will let you before a turn. And then as you begin to leave to emerge from the mountains, and you can maybe your elevation is higher, and you begin to see, have a different perspective. You begin to see the town or the city or the people that live in the area in a lower elevation. And so I kind of feel like I'm on that mountain road, and I know that soon I'm going to be able to see the big picture. I'm just leaning in with all of my heart to whatever it is that God has for me and for Girl Power Alliance and for our other businesses in 2021. I just want to say to those of you that have stuck with us for, the up till now with Girl Power Alliance, I really do appreciate it. I appreciate the feedback and hearing from you, and all of you that have been guests on the podcast. You've changed me in a lot of different ways, opened up my heart, and helped me to expand my faith. And I want to say this to you with all the love in my heart. For those of you that are listening to this podcast and you're really hoping to have a good year, maybe a different year than last year or the year before, the only way you can have a different year is to do something different. You can't just do all the same things in 2021 that you did in 2020 or maybe in 2019 and expect that magically you're going to have a completely different year. You have to make changes somewhere. Tony Robbins says that people are the happiest when they are making progress. And I wholeheartedly believe that. It's really been the premise behind, why I created Girl Power Alliance. I believe that we must continue to pursue growth in as many areas as possible. And so within the membership, we've created a number of opportunities for women to continue to grow, to continue to pursue growing in their business skills, growing in their faith, growing in understanding financial intelligence, how to grow wealth, what the Bible says about that, growing in their relationships, just every area of growth that is possible. And I'm so proud of that because it's such a big passion of mine. And, in order to make progress, you have to be in motion. In order for a shift to happen, you have to be moving. It doesn't happen when you're just sitting. And I've said this a lot, but the Bible says that God will bless the work of your hands. And, I believe that's true. Yes, we know he can do anything, but he wants to see us responding in faith so we continue to move forward. So for you in 2021, what is it that you're going to do differently to create a different outcome this year? Ask yourself that question. What is it that you can do? Where can you boldly stand up and step out in faith this year to something that God has asked of you? How can you actually respond in activity to something that the Lord is calling you to? Only you can answer that question. And we at Girl Power Alliance, we are here to help you and support you. And so all you have to do is go to girlpoweralliance.com and become part of our membership and actively pursue growing in big and small ways. Every single month we give you the opportunity. And of course, Radiant Leadership Academy is for those that are ready to really step into that place, that call that God has placed in your heart to step up in really bold ways and lead with more authority. lead with more confidence, lead from a biblical standpoint. We have all of these things waiting for you at your fingertips. And I'm excited about 2021. I hope you are. I'm really excited about it. I'm going to dig in. I'm excited about getting back on a routine and schedule that I had for many months, and then just if I got off of my path. That is a huge thing that will help you is if you create a schedule for yourself and follow it. It doesn't have to be super rigid, but just having an outline every week of what it is that you want to accomplish, and maybe, you know, itemizing it by day sometimes, or it depends on your personality. That will help a ton so that you'll know that it's there. Keep it in front of you. I still use a paper planner. I love my paper planner, and I write things down. And you can't see it, it's literally right in front of me on my desk here, so that I am looking at it every day as I sit here and work. I have an automated calendar on my computer, but I also have a paper planner right in front of me, so that all around my office I have, you can kind of see it in the corner back here, but I have a little whiteboard there that I write on. Each one there, I keep the things in front of me that I believe God is calling me to, so that when my eyes see it, it registers in my brain, and I will think about it over and over, and then the Holy Spirit can do the rest to nudge me in the right direction. I'm excited for you, and what is 2021 going to bring for you? I don't know. Maybe you have an idea, because maybe God has placed something on your heart, and maybe you don't. Maybe it's going to be a complete and utter surprise. Whatever it is, I know it can be your best year. Join us this year in Girl Power Alliance and be part of our community. All you have to do on Facebook is to join our private group is go to GPA Inner Circle. That's the name of our private group. We'd be happy to welcome you in there. And if you want to really actively pursue growth with all of our resources, head over to girlpoweralliance.com and check us out there. Join us. Say yes to the membership. It's extremely affordable. And of course, you still have time to be part of Radiant Leadership Academy. And with that, I want to remind you that Girl Power Alliance is where women grow.